Top-ranked Cougars take on Utah State at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on BYUtv. They'll hand out these blue shirts, which are awesome. They're going to wear royal blue shirts on the field as well. So check that out. Of course, the Aggies are going to complain that it's a similar color to theirs and that they had it first, because that's what you do in a rivalry. You argue and bicker over things. 9 Eastern Time tonight at Southfield on BYUtv. If BYU and Boise State were in the same conference, I would think it was a rivalry to a greater degree. The same way that St. Mary's and Gonzaga are a rivalry.
Is that BYU blue or Utah State blue?
This is probably more like Utah State blue.
You should say BYU blue. Just to bother the rivals. Just to bother the Aggies. Say, this is BYU blue.
I don't even care. I don't care what Utah State thinks about anything.
If there were a mustard stain on that shirt, on the blue.
This one's clean. I have been wearing this
royal, right?
I have been wearing this once a week for the last 3 weeks. I realized that today. One show, 1 week, I just want to wear the same shirt the whole week.
Is the Boise State game a rivalry game? Yeah, keep your hair growing and wear the same shirt every day.
Hashtag hipster status. I'll wear some glasses unnecessarily and a beanie.
At David Fiso says, there's more contention between BYU and Boise State than most of our other games, but it's not a rivalry. We don't circle this one. I disagree. I think BYU circles this game absolutely.
It's the best home game all year.
So why do you circle it, though? I think is it because it's a rivalry?
Tweet back in and tell us why you don't think.
Or is it because it's just a good game?
Yeah, tweet back in. That same person. I didn't see who it was. David Fiso. Tweet back in. Tell us why you don't think BYU circles this game.
Joining BYU Sports Nation on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline is former BYU standout linebacker and a man who has taken his talents to the NFL, Spencer Hadley. Spencer, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
All right, so you watched your little brother, Matt, play for BYU against Nebraska. What was that like for you to watch him on ABC National last Saturday?
Yes, I did, and it was stressful. It was kind of a new experience for me. I was texting my older brother Richard, and my dad, and Rich was texting going, I always get so nervous when I watch you two play, me and Matt, and I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, this is a new experience for me. I'm not real used to watching the game. I'm usually in the game, but this is, I was feeling those same kinds of nerve-wracking feelings, wanting him to play well, wanting the team to win, it was fun. It was a good experience.
How'd you think he played in the game?
I thought he played well for being a young buck. We had a little conversation after the game. Needs to work on his tackling, but he did a good job. I think he played well. He kept the ball in front of him, which is crucial for being a safety. You can't get beat deep. There were a few plays. Being his brother, I'll stand up for him. There were a few plays where it maybe wasn't totally his fault. Each guy on the defense has an assigned gap, and typically, especially with, at least as far as I understand, depending on the call that they may have called, the touchdown that was scored where you kind of missed the tackle on the sideline, typically in that, when an offense runs that type of play, your corner is your outside contained guy, and he's got to keep the ball inside, so the safety's coming to fill inside of the corner, which he did, and then when the guy got outside, then he was out-leveraged. And so we talked about tackling better and taking better angles after the game. I think he's got to adjust to the speed of the game. It's one thing to go into camp and practice, and everybody's faster than you remember the last time he played was really in high school. But everybody's faster, but then when you go from practice to a game, it's another step up. And I think everybody, that first game of the season, it's an adjusting period where you're getting used to game speed. And so I think our defense as a whole is going to come out this weekend. I think they'll tackle better. I think they'll be more adjusted to game speed and dialed in. I know Coach Mendenhall will get him ready. He's all about tackling, so I think these guys will I think our defense as a whole is going to play a lot better, which I'm excited about.
Spencer Hadley with us on BYU Sports Nation, former Cougar linebacker standout, played for the Raiders in 2014 in the NFL. I'm so glad you brought up the tackling situation, Spencer, because your brother talked about that very thing with the media. Listen to this.
Yeah, his actually first comments were, "Hey, why'd you miss those tackles?" Which is understandable. The older brother taking care of me.
Okay, so are you his coach now?
Oh yeah, we always have been. I mean, I remember going to his little league games when the kid was in 5th and 6th grade, and after the games on the ride home, we'd talk about how he played, and we've always. But he's done the same thing for me. He came to my high school games, and he always had a comment or two to give me, and even though he was my little brother, I listened. So
wow.
we've always critiqued each other.
Fun experience for BYU fans watching that Nebraska game, that finish. Obviously, the Taysom Hill news, no, but that Hail Mary, unbelievable. What was your reaction to the finish in Lincoln?
Oh man, I was actually watching the game with my fiance, and she wasn't feeling too well that day, so she was taking a nap. So she's asleep on the couch next to me, and I'm watching the game, and so I'm trying to react to the outcome of the game without waking her up. So there's this silent, full-body convulsion where who knows if I'm having a seizure or Tourette's or what's going on, but I'm freaking out. That was a game for the books.
The struggle is real in that situation, isn't it?
Yeah, I didn't want to get beat up for waking her up, but I had to react to the game, you know what I mean?
Spencer Hadley with us on BYU Sports Nation. Let's turn the page now from that crazy finish. And it's hard to do that because you want to relish a victory like that. But now 20th ranked Boise State comes to Provo. And we're looking at this matchup. It's a good one because BYU and Boise are kind of the non-P5 darlings. But is it a rivalry right now, Spencer?
That's an interesting question. I personally would say yes, just based on my experiences with Boise State. And everybody's going to have an opinion. Rivalries, except for the big ones, are very opinion-based, and it's everyone's going to have a different answer. But for me, from my experience, I would say yes. I think across the board there are a ton of similarities between BYU and Boise State, and for that reason alone, it kind of forces us to be rivalries because we have similar philosophies and whatnot, and so it's kind of like who does it better. And so in that sense, there's almost a natural rivalry, but then, the outcome of, we've had some pretty close games with them and some pretty hard-fought battles, and I think that brews a rivalry in and of itself as well. So I would say it's a rivalry. For me, I look at it as a rivalry. Plus, my fiance's family is all from Boise, and so they're Broncos fans, and that makes it a personal rivalry. We got to win this game. This is bragging rights, or I'm in trouble.
I know Jan Jorgensen went on his mission to Boise, and he has strong feelings related to the Broncos as well after that experience. But from the player,
and that makes sense.
Yeah, from the player perspective, did the game mean more on some level?
Yeah, I would say so.
If
I think
it's a rivalry, it should.
For me, it did. For me, it did, especially after it was my junior year when we went into Boise, and the defense, we played probably one of the best games we played that year, and should have won the game and ended up losing on the last play of the game. And so, that next year I had it. It was one of the few games that I had circled. So, yeah, I think as a player it's a rivalry, but
what is your favorite
that's my
memory?
Experience.
What's your favorite memory from that matchup, the matchups you played in against Boise State?
Oh, man, I think you already know what I'm going to say, but it's got to be that goal line stand.
Yep.
It's got to be the goal line stand. That's one of my favorite sports memories of all time, let alone BYU Boise matchup. That was something. That was something you only understand if you're a part of it, and so that's a good memory.
When you look at the matchup this week, obviously intriguing without, Taysom Hill, the kid from Eagle, Idaho. Tanner Mangum gets the start. Boise State's ranked. First home game, the momentum of the Hail Mary. There's a lot going on. How do you think it plays out this Saturday night?
Well, I think, first of all, it obviously plays out with a BYU win. But I think it's going to be a close game. I don't know much about this Boise State team. I was pretty limited on what I was able to watch last year, which kind of matters, but then at the same time it really doesn't because every team is so different. But I don't know a whole lot about them at this point, and so I'm not really sure how we match up. Matchups are a big part of a game and the outcome, but I know I like what we're doing. I like the momentum that we have, and I really like Tanner Mangum. He's a pretty close family friend, as well as I recognize he's a competitor, and he's going to give it the best he's got. And so I'm excited to see him go out there, start a game, sustain it, and finish the game, and see what he does with that. But I think there's going to be a battle this Saturday in LaVell Edwards Stadium. It's going to be a fun one to watch.
If you were to have a conversation with Tanner, let's say today, or even right before the game, what would you say to him? What advice would you give him?
Oh, I would tell him to just do what he did. I mean, to go out there as calm and as cool and collected as he was, and not let the emotion of losing Taysom, the emotion of it being the season opener, a big game, all of the things that could have come into your mind and rattled you as a player, he was able to deflect and focus in on his responsibility, where the ball was supposed to go. He looked good. He was dropping back, looking guys off, looking left, coming right. He looked like a seasoned veteran, and I would just tell him, do what you're doing. I don't need to tell you what to do. Plus, I'm no quarterback anyway, but just to have that mindset, just go out there and do what you know you can do and have a great game,
Spencer,
which I think you will. So,
after getting released by the Raiders last week, what's next for you?
Great question. One I wish I knew the answer to. I'm not sure. We've been talking to my agent, and there's a few teams that have showed some interest. And we're just kind of, I don't want to say hoping for an injury, but you gotta hoping for some good luck, some good fortune, I guess. Just hoping to get called by a team, maybe get a workout or get a look at even a practice squad or something, and then see where that takes us, and so we'll just kind of see what happens. We'll stay in shape and keep preparing for that hope, and just hope for another shot. So
that's a great way to phrase it. Hoping for some good luck. Spencer, I know that BYU Sports Nation has absolutely tapped into what you're doing and hoping the best for you. We appreciate the time, man. Keep us updated on what's going on in the NFL.
I appreciate it. I feel the support and appreciate that too. So will do, and you guys take care.
All right, thanks, Spencer Hadley on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future.
I like Spencer Hadley a lot, and his career was an interesting one, right? Made the 53 at the end of the season last year with the Raiders. Hopefully he finds a spot. Interesting to hear his comments about Boise State, because he said, yes, it definitely is. And then I said, did that mean more as a player? And he hesitated. That makes me, if it's a rival, it means something. Here's the thing.
It varies on the individual.
Yeah, it's not Utah. It's not Utah, obviously. Is it more than Utah State even? I don't feel like it. I feel like it's a little bit equal to or less than the St. Mary's basketball rivalry in that way. Because St. Mary's you dislike. You're like, yeah, that's a rivalry. Yeah. That's one of the games that I definitely want to watch.
There is vitriol for St. Mary's.
Now at Cougar fan, living in Idaho, I can promise you Boise State fans strongly dislike BYU. Who else are they going to dislike? They don't have a rival. BYU's got other people's attention, and they're